Aging? What do you mean, aging? I'm a vampire. Forever young.
So I'm sure you've heard about the recent developments in kids being concerned with aging and being really hyper aware of it. Ew! How rampant comments about age has become in terms of, for example, the entertainment industry. If you're not aware about all these things, I'm gonna get you up to speed real quick. I had to delete TikTok because not even because it was affecting me, because honestly it wasn't really doing anything negatively to me, because I'm a grown-ass woman. Like, it's not like as effective as it would be if I was a teenager, but definitely an app that reflects a lot of the current conversation between people. The discourse is always up to date in terms of popular pop culture discourse, not like academic level discourse. Obviously, it was the same 5 talking points being recycled over and over and over again, to the point where I could not listen to it anymore. And obviously, if you're going to be listening to people speaking about aging all day and all night, and especially the way that they're talking about it on TikTok, you're going to get in your head about it probably. But I gotta mention a couple of things about the trends that happened. So for example, there was this trend. It was kind of like a thing between Gen Z and millennials, where Gen Z would post videos and be like, how old do I look? Because they started to hear that a lot of people are saying that Gen Z look older than millennials, and the millennials would post videos being like, how old do you think I am? And trying to basically prove their point that they look younger than Gen Z or whatever. And it's kind of silly, just like as any fucking generational conversation is kind of stupid. This is also pretty silly, but I have never, ever in my life would have predicted that so many people are masochists. Straight up. Because tell me why people are asking such questions on the internet. They literally post a video of themselves on TikTok and they're like, how old do you think I look? Even if you're looking your age, you kind of have to expect a bunch of assholes in the comments just saying like, oh, you look 74, for example. Like, you know it's gonna happen, and it's just like really strange that people would be doing that to themselves. Like, I don't know why you would do that. I don't know, every time I saw a video like this, I was just sitting there like, you can't seriously tell me that you're doing this purposefully, willingly, and that you don't mind it. You don't mind like a barrage of just like weird ass comments that will make you feel strange about yourself. Maybe not bad about yourself, but definitely like weird. And the millennials constantly posting about it, being like, oh, we look younger than the next generation or whatever. Yeah, there was a lot of people who kind of got on the bandwagon, and they really got a lot of flack for it because they weren't really looking younger than anyone who's from Gen Z. And of course, people are going to rip them a new one for it. Basically, I don't understand why all of those people are so masochistic, genuinely. If you're gonna go on TikTok right now and look up aging, I thought that because there's been so much discourse about it, there's gonna be a lot of videos that are kind of like breaking it down and saying that this is ridiculous on TikTok that will pop up at the very top. But no, there's a lot of videos that are literally about what I wish I was told when I was 20, what I wish I started doing when I was 25, what I wish I started doing for my face when I was 27, all that kind of bullshit. And there's a lot of normalization of really jumping people's throats and kind of commenting on how like they're looking older than someone or whatever because they weren't using retinol at some kind of like point or something like that, which I think is honestly, it's a very, very classist conversation. Don't lie to me. Like, I know that moisturizing, for example, is important, but you know that if you have money, you can really look a lot better than somebody who doesn't have any disposable income. And in our economy, this is a lot of people. So this entire conversation is already annoying as shit, and we all know that. At least I think that everyone who's going to be watching this, my audience, we all know this conversation because because my audience is primarily female, and I know that we are targeted by this ads and videos and other things like that that are talking about aging. I really want to talk about what I think is the reason for this tidal wave of conversation about aging and trying to stop it and trying to look younger or anything along those lines. Most of all, I think that the reason for it is the pandemic. However, not for reasons that people usually bring up. So the reasons that usually are named when it comes to pandemic influencing the new generation into being afraid of aging and stuff like that, it's impossible to film at my fucking house, honestly.
Make it stop.
trying to say that marketing, switching from products for going out or products for parties, you know, like one-time kind of purchases and stuff like that, to try and move to selling products that are for what you wear at home, for comfort, and when it comes to products that are replenishable, that you have to repurchase constantly, skincare being pushed onto the market and onto people's feeds more and more, which is a factor, no doubt. I'm not going to fucking lie to you. Like, of course, the market and its ideas of what needs to be pushed and what needs to be sold during this time when no one is going out, no one is doing anything outside of the house, so they're not really requiring as many things. Requiring is, you know, a generous word to be fucking honest here, but you know what I mean. Of course, this influenced the entirety of the conversation. Of course, it brought a lot of emphasis on skincare, which meant that a lot of people who are in the skincare industry or in makeup industry, they switched lanes into skincare and they started to come up with more and more things to address when it comes to skin. So people feel more inclined to buy more things. Of course, this is part of the thing. However, and this is something that I am pulling from my personal experience, to me, the pandemic was not the only thing that kind of switched up my life drastically. In 2020, the pandemic happened, obviously, and in 2021, at the very end, I was diagnosed with cancer. So to me, basically 3 years of my life just got jumbled up in a bunch of economic, medical, public health struggles. And I definitely feel really angry about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there is nothing I can really do to not feel like I've been robbed of time. I've been robbed of years where I was young enough to be doing stupid shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just kind of cooped up and then I couldn't even fucking move and I was crawling around for like half a year because I was doing chemo. Like, obviously, I'm going to be kind of pissy about it now. I think that this is something that you can just kind of guess, honestly, right? But this is the reason why I feel so strongly about the topic of this video and kind of why I want to talk to older people, talk about this in a more open way where we're not trying to blame kids for being vain, right? Or anything along those lines. Because the thing is, yes, it's all skin deep. The conversation of aging is very much skin deep, because otherwise we would be talking about very different things than just procedures that you could do to your face to look younger, right? The biggest issue here is dissatisfaction that people have, and it ties into many different issues, not just the pandemic basically robbing everyone of a few years of enjoying themselves, and especially like young people. This video is brought to you by my jewelry brand, IDBY Jewellery. I don't believe you. I just had this project done with Lollyward. I don't know if you know of him, but he is a doll repainter on mainly Instagram. We have collaborated on this project where Roman created this photo shoot for my brand where the pieces are incorporated into the wings and whatever. Go to my Instagram or my business Instagram, check it out. I think that it looks really beautiful. It's honestly like he's done such a great work. I'm really happy about this, and I've been told by you guys that I need to talk about my jewelry more as like a sponsor, you know, like I sponsor myself. And you're right. I just feel awkward all the time, and I like shouldn't really, because I do love it. Like, I do love what I do, so I should talk about it more. It's not just going out, basically, that is something that determines people's attitudes about this, you know? It's not just that we've missed opportunities to just like let loose and enjoy ourselves. There's also a bunch of other things that also affect millennials the same way as it does with Gen Z. That specific issue is the economy and the state of the world overall. The worst part of it all is that everyone who is a young adult and an adult in their like prime years right now, everyone has been robbed of markers of success in adulthood. When I'm saying everyone, statistically speaking, to compare to the previous generations like Gen X and baby boomers and whatever, we definitely got the short end of the stick. The world is literally fucking falling apart. Capitalism is an absolute shit show. We oftentimes forget that, statistically speaking, about 70% of the population of people who are adults right now, young adults or in their prime, are not owners of any property, even though they are employed. The unemployment is at an all-time low. However, the ownership of things and also being able to afford like traveling or doing anything else is really, really low as well, which means that we are working more than we've ever worked, while at the same time we own and we can afford less than we've ever been able to as well. You can't tell me that this does not make millennials, for example, who have been working their entire lives and still cannot afford what their parents were able to afford at the age of 30. Now they're 40 and they're like, the fuck, why am I not able to have the same things when I'm more educated, when I've been working more, I've worked 2-3 jobs at a time and I'm still not there yet? Do you really think that that generation wouldn't be subconsciously desperate to be younger, to come off younger, to maybe look at themselves, be like, actually, we look a lot younger than, for example, the previous generation looked like at our age? I'm not saying that this is true or not true. Who gives a fuck, honestly? Like, I don't give a fuck about like the actual truth of whether someone looks their age or not. I just think that this is a lot deeper than just vanity and being exposed to surgeries and procedures and other things like that. Of course, this is a part of it. Of course, we are susceptible to things that we are fed on the daily, of course. But I really think that it's kind of like the least of our concerns, to be honest. You have 2 generations that, despite doing all the things that we were supposed to do, we're not getting what we were supposed to get in turn. I'm not interested in talking to a bunch of people who haven't arrived there yet and they still think that everyone is just an idiot in the world, that they're just the only person who's actually working. I've met a lot of people who still think that people who don't have a home, for example, are just lazy. And when I talk to those people, they're always the laziest pieces of shit I've ever met. Always. They just come from generational wealth. And they genuinely think that they earned what they have, which is absolutely insane, because the laziest motherfuckers are those people. The most untalented people are those people. And it's so crazy to keep on meeting them over and over and over again and seeing them not doing the work at all, not using their brain to figure out why so many people are in this situation right now, right? How does this affect our obsession with aging? Well, it of course makes us panic seeing ourselves being adults, like physically seeing in the reflection that we're not children anymore, knowing that we're tired, that we've been doing all of this shit for so long and still not having any of the things that are the markers of success of an adult who's done the bare minimum, at least, you know? I think this dissatisfaction is bleeding into our conversation about aging. Everyone is constantly talking about it, and it is 100% due to the fact that we cannot enjoy things that adults are supposed to be able to enjoy if they have a job and they're doing it, right? If we all had ability to afford to have a family, right? If everyone was afforded the same freedoms people were afforded in the 70s in North America, would you think anyone would be that pressed about it? I don't think so. It's always been a thing. People do obsess over youth. People obsess over it because of glorification of it in so many fucking ways, like fashion, in media, everywhere. Of course, it's going to always be a thing. However, the way that we are thinking about it now is definitely due to the fact that there is this time limit that people are feeling. For example, if you want to be successful in something, a lot of kids feel like they need to be successful in it before they even turn 18. And I don't mean school and stuff like that. I mean like literally achieving what you want ultimately to achieve in whichever direction you're going to be going in at the youngest age possible, which seems like a very strange thing to be focusing on if you want society to produce quality rather than quantity when it comes to products, developments. Oh, hi. when it comes to developments in medicine, for example, you want time to actually do all the research and try everything out and really figure out whether this hypothesis and this theory and then this medication or whatever the fuck is actually viable. We keep on rushing everything because there's this huge fear that you're not going to be able to enjoy anything. And the reason why people are so pressed about it is because so many people are not enjoying things, because of how impossible and unbearable our lives have become due to corporate greed and billionaires. Honestly, like, let's be fucking real here. Would you be as pressed about having a wrinkle at whatever age you are if you would have been also a leading manager at a company where you're making enough money to support your family? Would you be that pressed if you could go and buy whatever you needed without being worried about like what you're gonna eat tomorrow or something like that, how you're going to pay for your kids' tuition in the future? Would you really be as pressed about those fucking wrinkles? I feel like you wouldn't be. Because the thing is, yes, it's still not a pleasant experience to be aging, getting more, like, especially in terms of health, right? Like, you're gonna be getting more health issues and other things like that. We're definitely overlooking a lot of things about aging. Like, for example, the fact that it is a privilege, or not even a privilege. I guess I wish that it was not a privilege. I wish everyone got to, you know, live their lives out in its entirety. Just because for me it's been such a glaring thing because of my experience, because it's not just the pandemic, it was also just the fact that I could not do anything for like a year, and just the experience of it all in general made me more aware of like how angry I am about time being stolen from me. And I think that a lot of people have not addressed it in themselves, because yes, we have talked about how time feels different now. It feels like time isn't fucking real and stuff like that, just because so much of it has gone away and has gone to waste because of us either just not being able to be outside, or losing people, losing family, being in economic distress and stuff like that because of the way that the pandemic has affected us. I think honestly we need to address that, the underlying issue of, first and foremost, the fact that we are not getting paid for our labor, we are overworked and underpaid, the fact that we are the most educated generation yet we are the poorest generation. We need to look at facts as what they are. I think that there's so many people who really want to believe in the idea that if we just stop eating avocado toast, it's all gonna get better, and you know that it's not. If you have at least just even a crumb of understanding of economics and just honestly, if you know arithmetics, I think you can figure out why this is happening in terms of just people being so dissatisfied with what's going on. And I think that you will see that if we don't address these things, we're not going to move anywhere from this aging panic, first of all. Second of all, with all of this, we need to also understand that, and this is the thing that pisses me off the most, because I just can't listen to people complain anymore, honestly, but people consistently calling themselves old all the time. Like, I literally talked to a 20-year-old recently who was literally complaining about being old or something, and like, not in a joking way. Genuinely, you can feel the insecurity and the fear in the tone of voice, which, bitch, what do you mean you're old? You're 20. Shut the fuck up. I can't listen to it anymore. And I'm going to say this again and again and again, because I have said that on TikTok, I think, at some point. Unless you're in your fucking grave, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be honest with you, because this is something that might be also, not might be, I'm pretty sure this is the result of just me also going through something as horrific as fucking cancer at such a young age, that I genuinely cannot fucking hear people complaining when they're able-bodied, they're fine, you know, they're not starving, and they're still complaining all the time about being old, my ass. And the reason why I think that this is so prevalent is also because we have normalized shaming all joys of life when it comes to adults enjoying it, except for sex. This is the only thing that you're allowed as an adult to be indulging in or to be using as a source of joy. Everything else in life, if you like something cute, you're gonna get ridiculed for that. If you are enjoying some kind of franchise too much, you're gonna get ridiculed for that. This is also kind of ties into my my theory as to why a lot of people who do survive cancer become absolutely disinterested in trying to come off a certain way, and they just talk about whatever the fuck they want to talk about. Like, for example, there's this guy Billiam on this platform on YouTube who he does talk about, for example, Lost. He like breaks down Lost as the series from early 2000s. He talks about that, for example, in great detail, which is, you know, it's an adult show. Well, at the same time, he does make videos where he talks about some toys from 2000s as well or whatever, and he doesn't give a fuck because boy also went through cancer and he doesn't care to pretend to be anything than he is, or to pretend to be a person who's not going to be enjoying life for everything that it has to offer, right? I genuinely feel annoyed by people who are consistently so repressed and insecure, and they keep on projecting it on everyone around them. And it's like a disease, you know? It's honestly so frustrating because I cannot be explaining to every single person I fucking meet that you don't have that much time, because it's so strange, because they do know that they don't have much time, because there's so much anxiety about aging, there's so much anxiety about not achieving what they want to achieve, while at the same time they have this attitude that they could pretend to live and enjoy life rather than actually live it and enjoy it. People are both extremely insecure and are afraid to just enjoy things that are not even childish, but I guess simple or imaginative, or in any sort of like shape or form sexless. Because the thing is, if you're watching a show that's really bad, for example, Fate the Winged Saga, don't get offended if you love Fate the Winged Saga, I'm sorry, but I did not enjoy it. It's a very juvenile show. You can watch that show and enjoy it as an adult, for example, and people are not going to clown you for it because it's an adult show, just because it has sex in it, right? And alcohol, I guess. That's also like a thing that you can enjoy as an adult without people being weirded out by it, right? And I think it's really strange that we think that that's normal, but people who are enjoying like Avatar, the Airbender or whatever, the cartoon version of it, are strange for it. Like, you're an adult and you're watching it or whatever, and it's like, I think it's really weird because one of them was a good show, regardless of it not being explicitly sexual or something, and the other one is an objectively poorly written, art direction horrible, a show that's just not worth your time. But because it has sex in it, immediately we allow it to be a part of our of cultural zeitgeist for adults. Why? It's all tied together into this anxiety of being afraid of aging, while at the same time shaming each other for enjoying life for things like, I don't know, a dessert, for example. We kind of segregated it to the point where adults are only seen as normal adults when their entire life in terms of enjoyment is revolving around sexual things, and everything else is considered to be strange or frivolous or too childish or something like that, you know? Even in terms of, for example, enjoying going out dancing, right? People start being like, why are you going out dancing at this age, to people who are like, for example, 40? And it's like, they're not dead. Why would they not go out and enjoy themselves? Why wouldn't they go and see, I don't know, the Barbie movie or something like that? Why not? There's so many things that tie into this conversation, and mostly it's the external factors, the dissatisfaction that translates into extreme insecurity that people keep on fucking pushing onto everybody. And of course, this conversation is honestly very annoying, but also at the same time, it does reflect our times quite a bit if you look at it from the perspective of being like, damn, so many people, so many young people did get robbed of quite a few years of their lives, while at the same time, now that they are out there and they can enjoy themselves, they can't because of the economic struggle. We're just in this weird limbo where it is subconscious because it's coming from the outside influences. The dissatisfaction just translates to insecurities, and the insecurity is what we then push onto everybody else and perpetuate this cycle, you know? It's our fault, of course, to a certain degree, as I'm saying, you know, obviously our insecurities and pushing it onto other people, this is our part that we could actually stop and maybe reevaluate and really look at ourselves and think about what is actually the issue, right? While at the same time, it is important to see that it's no wonder people are so obsessed with aging, because no shit you are. If you haven't figured out that you're kind of pissy about time being stolen from you, you probably just projected into being afraid, you know, and being afraid of what? Aging. Regardless of all of that, this is a conversation that's obviously difficult to address with people who haven't done the work to understand the economic state of the world right now, and people who are still in this dream world where they think that we're not on a trajectory to ruin, basically. To those people, I say, honestly, go do it on your own. I ain't explaining shit. I cannot be explaining the most basic shit every single fucking day to people about why you cannot just explain the rising prices of groceries with inflation. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you anymore. To those people, you know, it's just frustrating because it's like, honestly, that's on you. You should go and like engage and then maybe come for further conversation here. But I'm not explaining that 2 + 2 is 4 when I want to talk about calculus. Do you know what I mean? Have a good day and let me know what you think. I'll see you soon with another one. Bye.
Bye.